let's talk about Paris. Last week we went over London, and now we're gonna go over France. And I was like, I see so much underpants. Okay. Paris was great. As far as like weather at this time, we were there probably 2 weeks ahead of the Olympics. So we got to see the setup for the Olympics. You know, we saw the rings and saw like, how they were doing things around the Eiffel Tower and around other monuments. And it's funny because it made things a little bit harder to get to, especially walking, because they blocked off footpaths and stairs. And so we just ended up having to walk a little bit more, which was whatever. But I remember in Paris, the main thing for me was in London, it was raining the whole time, like the whole time we were in London. And when we got to Paris, the sun was out and it was great. So we went out for this walk, didn't take a sweater or whatever. And then it started raining. It was like cats and dogs all of a sudden in Paris. And I think that's a point where I got fed up with the rain. I was like, no more, that's it. So I bought an umbrella. But it's like, I didn't own an umbrella. And then of course, after I bought the umbrella, it never rained again. We had a beautiful boat ride on the Seine, and I learned that you kind of don't pronounce all the syllables in the French words, so I was like practicing with I'm silly. Everywhere I go, I'm silly. And I think we kind of were in the more touristy areas, so there wasn't really a language thing. Plus, to be honest with you, a lot of people spoke English where we were, and I tend to walk into places and I'm like, hi, So we went to, I wanted to go to Notre-Dame. My husband wanted to go to Notre-Dame as well. So we went to Notre-Dame. It's not open or anything like that. But we just kind of wanted to check in and see how the, reconstruction was going. And, outside you can only see the outside of the church and it looks beautiful. But I remember the first time that I went to Notre-Dame and we got to go inside, and it was the most calm feeling place ever. And it was literally the oldest building that I had been in at that point in my life. I think it was 2010. So it was literally the oldest building I had been in. And it was just like, I was just kind of like, So anyway, we went back, got to take a look at it. It was under construction. I did a few little really horrible, like all my drawings in Paris were really horrible. After that, we went to the Eiffel Tower, because that's where you kind of get on the boat, like right underneath the Eiffel Tower, which was great. So we got to look at it. We got to see the Olympic symbols, and they have the Paralympic symbols there as well. And we stayed really close to the Arc de Triomphe, and my husband went to the top of it. He decided to climb all the stairs to go up to the top. And I said, you have a great time. That was day one, pretty much. Day two was the Louvre. Okay. Hold on to your butts. So, the Louvre, my husband and I have this like rule about the Louvre, and it was that we did not want to go to the furniture section. The furniture's beautiful, the furniture's delightful and all that kind of stuff, but the last time that we went to the Louvre, we went to the wing of furniture, and it's a palace. So the wing of furniture is like a whole city block of furniture, and we were just in there. And nobody else goes to the furniture section, like not one person. And so we ended up spending all of our time there, and we knew that we didn't have days and days to keep coming back or whatever. Like we wanted to go to the Orsay, the museum, and we didn't go because it's Tuesday and Wednesday, and most museums are closed on like a Monday or a Tuesday. So we had that one rule, like if we like sniff out of furniture, we're not going in that direction. I also didn't want to spend too much time with sculpture. Sculpture's not really my favorite. I like it, but it's not my favorite. There's really only one sculpture to rule them all, and that is the Winged Victory, the Nike of Samothrace. I saw that for the first time in art school in an art history class, and it has been my favorite sculpture of all time since that moment. And the first time I saw her, I was just, blown up, just, oh my God, stunning. stunning. And this time was no different. I was blown away. There weren't so many people crowded up against her like there have been in the past. So I was able to get a really nice picture of her, and just, you know, she's the embodiment of the wind. And I just love that. Just the wings and the drapery and the whole thing. I could hang out with it all day, you know. So after Winged Victory, there's a little corridor with some frescoes and things like that gets you into kind of a bigger room where they start leading you into like the paintings area. That's what I call it. And really how they organized the museum was, I guess, basically by nationality. So French, Italian, Spanish. It's really a classical art museum. So there's not going to be a lot of, there's no contemporary art. Just knock that out of your head. But the cool thing was that because of the periods of painting, so like the 1500s, things like that, you get a different quality of painting that we got in England, where in England it was kind of closer to the Impressionists. So the painting style kind of, you know, evolved. You can see the evolution of the painting style. Here is more Renaissance painting, and maybe even before that. So there was a lot of painting that was just like the perfect depiction of drapery, the perfect depiction of skin color of a face or something like that. And then of course you have like Leonardo da Vinci paintings just like in the hallway. So there was and I'm going to say it right away. I have a picture of the Mona Lisa, but I'm not a Mona Lisa person. Like, my husband is a Mona Lisa person. He will go in there, he will fight with the crowd, he will do that whole thing. I was in the room with with him and with the Mona Lisa looking at everything else. And every other painting in that room is a banger, okay? Just absolute banger. Paolo Veronese, all throughout the entire room. There were, you know, other painters as well, but if you do get the chance to go to Paris and you do get the chance to go into the room where the Mona Lisa is, look around the whole room first and then fight with the people to see the Mona Lisa. Because the Mona Lisa is like this big. It's a little, tiny little painting. I'll admit, this time I got closer to it than I did the last time. I got closer to her, I kind of saw it like, oh yeah, there it is. And I got a really good look at it from the side. But if you want to see it from the front, you're going to have to fight. Okay? Walking up to it, there was a painting by Leonardo da Vinci that you can walk right up to, like, you know, this close to, and take a really good look at it. And it is beautiful. I never remember names of paintings, but it is a beautiful painting. And you can see it's got some of the same elements that you would get, you know, it's the same painter. So the thing about his paintings that I like, it's the fact that there is a personality coming through, that it's not, that this is the person and not a depiction of a person. A lot of the paintings of the time, of the same time as him, it's paintings of depictions of people doing saintly things. Whereas this is a picture of this woman who is this woman. So if you sat her down and had a, you know, took her portrait or took a portrait photo of her, this would be the person that you get. So I really like that about it. And I really like how she's in darkness and she kind of comes out of that darkness. One thing about the paintings at the Louvre is that they are like mostly narrative. You know, if you really go through them and you're really looking at what's going on with those paintings, they're mostly narrative. And there are a lot of like propaganda. You know, like if you look at the Davids, that's another fave, okay? But if you go through and you kind of read the paintings and like you are trying to read those paintings, they're propaganda. They're a, you know, portrait of a woman, and these portraits, what are they used for? Well, they're not just hung in the house sometimes. Sometimes they're sent off to like, hey, this is what your future wife might look like. Ta-da! Or they're just telling the story, like biblical stories. They're telling biblical stories, which I think are, and some of them are just the most interesting way to tell a story, right? And how do you tell a story that is static, so no one's moving, and that is painted? So you have to have a plan. And to me, looking at those paintings, it's all about the planning. It's all about the artistry of composition, and it's all about that artist understanding where to put a person and where to put their eyesight. You know, where's their eye line going? What are they actually doing? Are they you know, crying out and you know, like, oh, I'm running out of words. Leaning into narrative. There was basically an entire room full of David paintings. They had Napoleon crowning Josephine. They had Josephine's crown, by the way. They had Josephine's crown, and it is stunning. There she is. There was a whole room full of jewels and stuff, and I was like, is this furniture? And you know, it was not furniture. So we went inside. They had basically the crown jewels, and it was a lovely experience. And of course you have the David room, and I call it the David room. There are plenty of paintings in there that aren't by him, by the way. But he is the prevalent, I mean, there's like a 30-foot painting in there. So he's the king of that room. And it's all about the story. It's all about the storytelling. And seeing that painting of Napoleon crowning Josephine, and the fact that the painting, it's like you were at the coronation when you were looking at the painting. You're literally, the people in the painting are either your same size or bigger than you. They have the one where the 3 soldiers are giving tribute. They're holding their swords up, and you see the person accepting the tribute, and then the women crying in the background. And David's like a master storyteller. And the thing I love about him is that, and you have one, I almost quoted Eminem, you got one shot, you know? But you really have one shot. You have one shot. You have this one story. You have this one moment. And you have a person's attention. And you know how attention is now. And imagine back then, the only thing you had was this. You didn't have a television. You had the stories in the paper. And who could read those stories in the paper, you know? Like the ability to read. So the ability to read, and then you have the ability to see a painting. So you come into that painting, and immediately you are confronted with, like, let's say the Death of Marat, which is also one of my favorite paintings, where I saw it in the same art class, by the way. That was a great class. But you see that painting of him in his bath, and he is, you know, kind of hanging over the bath, and you can see that he was writing letters. I couldn't read anything that was written because I don't speak French or read French, but you can see that the story of this person who was in a bath writing letters about the freedom, or, you know, gaining freedom for people, for regular people, and someone came in and ended him, you know? Or you can see the tribute painting where the 3 men are, you know, kind of saying, yeah, I'll go to war for you. And the women in the background of the painting that are crying and weeping because they know that their father, their son, or their brother it might not come back. You know, it's kind of why I love the painting, the Lady Jane Grey, which I didn't see. But it's the same kind of storytelling where you see someone who's being sacrificed, and you see the hurt and the struggle of the sacrifice by her, you know, her maids are back there, her ladies in waiting, or they're crushed. Everyone there is like, hey, I know this is weird, but we got to do it, you know. And it kind of tells a similar story, those 2 paintings, where someone is being sacrificed and someone is sacrificing themselves. And that's, I mean, for me, in painting, I love that. I love being able to tell a story. I love putting that person who is viewing the painting in a position where they can interpret, where they can read the painting, and where they can understand how, you know, what's their interaction here? Are they a witness? Are they a participant? You know, that's the thing I love about painting, and especially Renaissance painting, where the level of storytelling is so high that you can read the painting without reading the little placard where they tell you everything. You can just read the painting itself and kind of understand what's going on. And that's one of the things I love about David's paintings, is that every single one of them is a story that is being told, and you are somehow participating in that story, either as a witness or as an actual participant in the telling of the story. Love it. And I'm a geek. Oh, I'm a geek at the museum. I am such a geek. My husband has gotten used to me holding up my phone and talking about the paintings in front of the paintings. Or just talking to him about the paintings and being like, and this is the blah, 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 blah. You know, I love it. And I recently bought from the Met a book about David's drawings. So not the paintings, but his preparatory sketches. And it's so interesting to find out what his habits were and how much he sketched. Because you have to think about the fact that he didn't have a photo, couldn't take a photo. So he had no photo reference. So his photo reference was wherever he was sketching. Always be sketching. I think I need to make a t-shirt. This is always be sketching. But wherever he was sketching. And whenever he was sketching. So when he had his own workshop or his own, his own atelier or whatever you want to call it, he had all of those sketches. So as he was building paintings, he could refer to a sketch that he had of a building, or he could refer to a sketch that he had of a fountain or a person or whatever. So he can build his paintings, and instead of saying, well, this is the exact room that this person was in. So he has a great painting where Socrates is taking the poison, and you have the part where you have the people come in and pose as Socrates and pose as the people, but then you also have the surroundings that he's in, and that was from his sketches. So totally amazing. Love me some David. There will be more talk about David in the future, just because I love it. So I saw my first Vigée Le Brun, and I have been interested in her work because in history she is one of like two famous female painters of the time. So there's Vigée Le Brun and there's Artemisia Gentileschi, and those are the two that I know of the time. And I guarantee there's more female painters that happened at that time, but not famous painters. And her painting was in this little dark room off the side, like we were looking for a restroom, and there was another little gallery kind of between the restroom and the food court, and there it was. And I gotta say, her painting was, I get why she was Marie Antoinette's painter, because the way that she portrayed, this is a painting of herself and her daughter, and it was so soft and so sweet. It was poreless skin. Everybody had perfect skin. It looked happy. It projected happy out into the world. And I really liked that about the painting. And it was one of those where you're like, oh, I finally got to see one. And I get it. I get why it was what it was. The main revelations for me were definitely the narrative, the use of narrative in painting, and in its prevalence at the Louvre. I think next time I go to Paris, because there will definitely be a next time, I will probably go to the Orsay. I'll go to a few other museums because I want to see what else they have there. Also, what other food is there? What can I eat? My husband's really into crepes. You can get crepes here, but he's like, it's better over there. I like the diners where they have the little quiche and things like that, and that's my speed. But yeah, it was wonderful. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I hope you go to Paris. I hope you have fun. I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. Next week I have to do something painterly. I've been working on this painting since I got back, so this one has changed quite a lot, so I have some footage for that. So, see you next week. Love ya. Bye-bye.